So, I just did a video about communication and communion and all, so I'm gonna break that word for you, break that word into parts for you, because it's gonna help you. Because when you realize that communication I'm just checking my gas, I'm on the highway. When you realize that communication is the key to life, whether it's the lifeblood of a business, it's the lifeblood of a marriage, it's the lifeblood of family, friendships, it's the lifeblood of enemies even. Because Russia and the U.S. have to communicate at some level or they're going to bomb each other eventually with nuclear warheads. And so that communication is needed, and it creates respect when you communicate with your enemy and show them respect, because you know they're a power to be a force to be reckoned with, a power to be reckoned with. And so when you have communication with your enemy, with your family, friends, with anybody, it's important to be able to communicate properly and make sure they hear what you're saying. Because a lot of times when you're communicating with somebody, they hear it from their perspective only. And I learned this in business, and I've learned it with rideshare, that the way you communicate has to do with the way the other person perceives what you're saying, you know. And some people are a little bit narcissistic, where they think everything you say is about them, and you're really not even talking about them. You're talking about an example, but they take it personal. So the way you communicate with people who have personality traits, not saying call them a name, but they have certain personality traits, you have to be careful how you talk. And so we all have those things, you know. People I rub shoulders with, they are careful about what they say, because they know I'm hyper vigilant about everything that's being said, and so they're careful. Not that they're walking on eggshells, they're just careful, because you forgive everybody anyway. So, and you just try to ask, what did you mean by that? What'd that mean? So communication, let's break it down. So communication, or communion, is the same word. It's C-O-M, union. C-O-M-M, union. Now M is water. M is water. Go to the Phoenician, just type in Google, Phoenician script, the letter M. M is water. So what is water? Your body's 70% water. You breathe water. The earth is full of water. The water's everywhere on the earth. You're breathing it every day. You can get a dehumidifier and put it in your house and create water every day. You can take a piece of plastic, put it outside in the morning, the dew or humidity will condense on that plastic and you got water, you know. So what is my point? My point is the letter M is water. So what is C-O or C-O-M? It means together. C-O-M, if you do the etymology, it means together. Words are the hologram. Jesus is the Word. He spoke it into existence. So Jesus is the Word. So everything is a word because it comes from the Word. So everything is a word because it was spoken by the Word. So everything is a word because it was spoken into existence by the Word. Easy button. This is very easy, class. Let me say it a different way. Everything is the Word because Jesus is the Word and He spoke it all into existence. So everything has to point back to Jesus being the Word, because everything is a word. It has to be. The spiritual realm manifests in the natural. Now, C-O-M means, just type in C-O-M dash etymology. C-O-M dash space etymology. And you'll see that C-O-M means together. And type in C-O dash and it means together. And the reason C-O and C-O-M both mean together is because together with water vessels. So the humans down here are water vessels. And anytime you interact with another human, it's a water vessel that you're interacting with. Now, union, you know what that means. Two come together, whether they're eating a meal, watching a movie, friendship, you come together. A marriage, they become one. They come together as one. And the reason that marriage is so hard is because you got two different people coming together in oneness. And that oneness is a process over time, the cycles of time, to birth in a new creature between the two. So let's break it down slowly. COM is together, M is water, union. Together, two water vessels becoming in union. It could be a business deal, it could be anything that they're agreeing on. So now we'll break the word union down into its constituent parts. U sounds like you, Y-O-U, right? The phonics work too. U, N, the letter N, sounds like I-N, right? UN, ion. And the word ion is a word, everything is a word. Ion means what? To go, to walk the way. I-O-N means to go, energy. Ion is like energy. So to walk in the spirit, in the flow, in the energy of the spirit, C-O-M, M, union. So together, the two water vessels are in union in the spirit flow, the walk in the spirit, I-O-N. So ion is the walking in the spirit, two walking together, like Amos 3:3 says. How can two walk together except they be in agreement? So communion is the two walking together in agreement. I'm in South Carolina. I just passed Topgolf. If they have stock, you better invest in them because it's growing like crazy and they're always full. There's one in North Carolina they just built. There's one in Raleigh, one in Charlotte. They're growing like crazy. They're making some profit too. And I think the reason they're so popular is because they put the GPS in the golf ball and people are practicing to see how good they can get. So communion, or is common, same word as common. C-O-M-M-O-N, your own point, your own power. Common, what we have in common. Together means, like in the England, common law, right? England, common law is everybody's in common together. Commons. I think their court proceedings are the commons, the people in common. So each nation has its way of ruling the people, and it's all about people working together in common, right? Together in commons. Common ground, right? So when you have two people who are in common ground, that means they're in agreement. They're on the same page. They're in agreement. In the last video, I said some people see you as the hero, some people see you as the villain. And sometimes the script flips, and then they all of a sudden, oh, you're the hero after all. I had some coworkers that were being told something by somebody at another place that I had to go and work, and they tried to treat me like I was the devil, you know. And so that person who was working at the other properties thought I was evil. And then she come to my property and started working, and she said, you know, this person said you were. She said, I realized. He said, you're something wrong with you. She said, I realize you're normal, and they're crazy. They were trying to make me look bad. Why? I don't know. It's because they perceived me as the villain. And she thought he was the hero, and I was the villain. This guy was lazy, and he wanted me to do his job, and I said, no, I ain't doing your job. You do it yourself. So he had to make me look like the villain. Do your job, man. I'm not here to I learned it. You can learn it. I'll help you, but I'm not doing it for you. They just try. If they can't manipulate you, become the villain. That kind of person. And so when I finally started working with her from the other place, she saw that guy, everything he said was a lie. And so God actually moved that person out of the organization. And hopefully she remembers that somebody was trying to set me up for something. I don't know why. But that's what happens. That's what happens. People have their own perspective about who's a hero, who's a villain. But if you look at it from their family, they look like a hero from other. Each person, depending on who you're interacting with, somebody can see you as the good guy, the bad guy, or the neutral person. Anybody can write you as a villain if you don't agree with them. But other people see you as the hero, and then their script gets turned upside down. And if they're humble enough, they'll admit, hey, it was me. But most of the time, they're not humble enough to say, well, maybe you're not the villain, you know? Long story short, common and communion is how this whole reality works. If it's the body of Christ, the hand and the foot work in common. The knee and the elbow work in common. The head is Christ. The body, the arms, the elbows, the feet, they're all in common. They're all working together in union. Common ground. On the highway, so I forgot what I was saying from the beginning because my mind is in like 3 different directions right now. But I've studied the etymology so much, it's just so obvious that I don't need to memorize anymore. I know what it means. Just when I look at a word, if I look at a word, any word, I break it into parts instantly because I can see the meaning of the word, any word, even Spanish. You can do it with Spanish because a lot of the Spanish words, about 2,000 words, are almost, well, at least 1,000 words in Spanish are the same spelling as the English. And so it's the same meaning. You can just look at the letters and say, hey, I know what that means because it's the same word. It's just pronounced different. Like communication goes back to common, you know. Communication is the turning machine that we're in down here. I really do have a gift because God gave it to me. And I know it's hard to hear what I'm saying if you've never heard this before. But if you have to listen 3 or 4 times, it's worth it, because if you can step into the fact that everything is a word and points back to Jesus, and we all have this in common.
There are police reported ahead.
And what you can do is, since you already have common ground with everybody, you can understand everybody and know where they're coming from by just looking at it from their perspective. It's a growth process like you've never seen. And if you want to grow, study the etymology and break the words into their cognates and their parts. You will not grow. By studying the Bible, really studying it and digesting it, by studying the etymology and digesting it, by cutting the TV off and the music off, you will grow, and you can't not grow. You have to grow, period. It's not a maybe, it's absolute, you know. All right. It is what it is, people. Whether you hear me or not, it's on you. Come back in a year and it'll make sense, because they're not there yet. And when you get there, your whole world's going to change. And you're actually going to step into the 5D mindset, and you're going to see that 3D is just a birthing program to birth you into the spirit mind, away from the flesh mind or the carnal mind. If you're a carnal Christian, it's time to grow up. Give up the world, Babylon. The music's a lie, the TV's a lie, the news is a lie, your bloodline's a lie, your preconceived ideas are a lie. Take the Bible and meditate on it and change your stinking thinking to God's thinking. And that applies to all of us, me included, you included. And take your stinking thinking and create a new way of thinking. Plain and simple. Easy button. It's a new day. It's a brand new day. If you live in the old paradigms, you're not going to grow, and you're just going to stay stagnated. You've got to shift your mind. And if you can understand that everything is a word because Jesus spoke it, so every object that you look at is an object lesson teaching you some deep truth. I was talking about this about 10 years ago. and it was like a ladder employee, but kind of lateral, but a little bit higher. And she said, do you smoke marijuana? I said, no, I don't smoke marijuana. She said, the stuff you're saying, it sounds like you're high or something. No, this is spiritual truth. Because I had told her that a square box is a word. A triangle has a meaning. Everything has a meaning. So to live in both realms is a balance. It's hard to see the spiritual side in everything, but also live in the 3D. It's hard to balance that. It's kind of tough, But eventually, with enough practice, you can start to see past the 3D via the object lessons of the 3D.